Okay, another hot topic. The MMR vaccine. MMR, what does it stand for? Measles, mumps, and rubella. All right, you can't get them separated. So the companies just make it as an MMR. So it used to be, I think, where you could get like mumps as a separate vaccine from measles or rubella separately. That's not the case anymore. You have to get them all together. So it is an extensively studied vaccine. According to the CDC, one dose of the MMR vaccine is about 93% protective against the measles, which is good news if you're in an outbreak area. Typically, we give it at 12 months old. That said, if you are in an area where there is an active outbreak, you can get the first dose much sooner, as early as 6 months old. So you'll want to check with your local public health department about that. If you get the second dose, it's about 97% protective against the measles. And typically, again, we'd give a second dose at age 4. Okay. So there's those two different times that we give the measles vaccine, so the MMR vaccine. Another thing to think about is if you are in an outbreak area, sometimes you'll actually end up needing 3 vaccines. So, like, let's say you got one early between 6 months and 12 months, then oftentimes people will recommend doing the other 2 as well. So just kind of knowing that there may be an extra one if you are needing to get that early vaccine or you're wanting to. Okay, so what are the side effects of the MMR vaccine? The common things that happen, and this happens with many shots, is like a mild fever. So something a little bit elevated, 100.4, 101, somewhere kind of in that range is pretty common. Obviously, we're doing an injection, so you can get a very sore arm. You might get like a red spot around where we inject because the tissue can become a little bit inflamed because you're introducing a needle to that area. And then the rare side effects, there can be a brief fever related seizure. So this is typically children that are predisposed to getting febrile seizures. If they get a sudden onset fever after vaccination from MMR, in some cases, this is extremely rare, you guys, they may have a febrile seizure. That doesn't usually lead to long-term consequences. Okay. So like brain damage or something awful like that. Another one is a temporary drop in the platelet count. Platelets are like these little things in the body that basically, I don't know, like plug up little cuts and things like that. So it's kind of what they do. We never want that to get dangerously low because it can cause severe problems. But as you know, a temporary little drop isn't too harmful. Okay. Usually these things will resolve without like long term harm. But if your child has platelet issues, this may be something that you need to ask about, especially if they have something like ITP or TP, which we don't have time to go into all of those platelet disorders. But if you've heard those words before, then you probably know your child has them. Who should not get the MMR vaccine? Okay. So if your child has significant immune compromise, like they're very, like they have a very bad immune deficiency, then that's not a good time for your child to get a MMR vaccine. Okay. Also, if they are immune suppressed from medications, that's not a good time either. So you'll want to clarify with your doctor about, what medications they're taking, like how severely they're immune depressed. Like, is it a good time to get the MMR vaccine or not? If they're taking immune suppressive medications. Also, people who are going through some certain cancer therapies, it's not a good time. So you just want to talk that over and see if, your child is on a therapy that they should not be getting the MMR. I just want to say, like, if you have been spacing vaccines or you've been feeling kind of thoughtful about timing and you're kind of taking it intentionally, I just want to, ensure that there's still flexibility to make, a decision about MMR that feels right to you.